Buffalo police on scene, Buffalo with police tape.
Excessive and oppressive heat.
More details about what
Happening this afternoon, the head of Buffalo's Catholic Church will meet with all priests to discuss the clergy sex abuse crisis. News 4's Jen Shantz joins us from the Infant of Prague Parish in Cheektowaga. That's where today's meeting is taking place. Jen.
Mel, Bishop Richard Malone is expected to address all priests at 1 o'clock here at the Infant of Prague Parish in Cheektowaga. The big question on everyone's minds, is he planning to resign? You can tweet at me, at Jen Shantz 4. You can also tweet at News 4 Buffalo. We, of course, Mel, will have live team coverage, not only of the priest meeting, but of that public meeting that we will be at starting at 2:30. For now, live in Cheektowaga, Jen Shantz, News 4 at noon.
All right, Jen, all eyes will be on that meeting this afternoon. Right now, we're joined by defense attorney Barry Covert, who represents one of the victims. So I want to ask you, what is your client hoping to hear from Bishop Malone today?
What she's been hoping to hear for years and years now from the bishop, from the church, is that they are going to engage in transparency, that they're going to embrace the truth. They're going to tell everyone what occurred, send all the files, all the allegations, no matter how old they are, to the DA's office, the New York State Attorney General's office, the U.S. Attorney's office, and complete the list of abusive or allegedly abusive priests to include all the priests. Don't limit it to those who have more than one allegation or that if they've been deceased. Include everyone on the list. Be transparent and then lay out how they're going to handle this in the future to make sure that there are no other victims like my client. Her concern is for the victims, to make sure the church is transparent. But she loves her Catholic Church. She is a very faithful person. She wants to see the church survive and grow.
Yeah, and so, you know, your client, you mentioned she wants transparency, and Jen mentioned that there are 12 priests that are going to attend this meeting today asking for Bishop Malone to step down. Does your client want to see Bishop Malone step down?
Well, I don't think that it's her goal that he step down as much as that the church stop or the bishop stop engaging in this non-transparent behavior where he seems to be covering matters up. He seems to have legal distinctions instead of taking the higher moral ground. The higher moral ground that the bishop should be taking is that we're going to protect all the victims. We're going to make sure that they are taken care of in the future. We're going to make sure that there's no future victims. We're going to be transparent as to what we did in the past, where it was a mistake. We'll admit that it was a mistake, and how we'll make sure that that doesn't happen again in the future. If Bishop Malone can carry that message forward, that's terrific. Right now, I don't think she has faith that he can do that, but it really is, the burden's on him to show that he can do that.
All right, Barry Covert, thank you so much for joining us. I have so many more questions. We're out of time. In the meantime, you can make sure that we will be there following all of this happening today again at 2:30. Make sure you stay with us here at News 4 and on our website, WIVB.com. And if you want to read the latest on the ongoing sex abuse scandal within the Catholic Church, we have it all laid out on our website. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
In the meantime, the sex abuse scandal rocking the Diocese of Buffalo has centered around priests, but now some are wondering if these allegations could include others serving the Catholic Church in some capacity. News 4 Investigates obtained an internal list of names that was presented to a diocesan review board in September. In addition to priests, the list includes former employees and affiliates of the diocese. We asked an attorney if those names will ever be released publicly if the diocese finds the claims credible.
If a person was named as a perpetrator and that claim was substantiated in order to protect other victims, potential victims, and the safety of children, and help victims heal, they would release those names.
What her claims were.
Tonight on News 4 at 6, hear more from Barry Covert and another local attorney who's handling abuse claims against the diocese, plus the reason they're welcoming a federal investigation of the sex abuse scandal. Luke Moretti has that special report. Turning now to the weather, taking you outside for a live look over downtown Buffalo on kind of what has turned out to be a little bit of a dreary morning. But, Mike, things are changing as we head into the afternoon, and that's some good news.
Yeah, exactly, Mel. In fact, you know, a few spots actually have seen some big changes late week. We'll break it down for you in my 7-day outlook.
is your local election headquarters, and we're now just hours away from what many are calling the most important midterm in recent history. Today, many politicians made their way to Western New York for a final get-out-the-vote push. U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was in Amherst this morning. She's urging New Yorkers to get out and vote. She was here as part of a rally for 27th Congressional District candidate Nate McMurray.
The energy that we're finding on the grassroots is so strong. This is a moment where you really have to fight for what you believe in, and we have great candidates who share our values, who are running to make sure health care is a right and not a privilege, to make sure we fight for middle-class tax cuts, not for the ultra-wealthy and the big businesses, and to make sure that people can get a good education, whether it's early childhood education or debt-free college.
I've gotten to know like a sister on this campaign.
Gillibrand is also running for re-election. She is New York's junior U.S. Senator running against Republican Shel Farley. Most polls have Gillibrand as a 20-plus point favorite. And make sure you're tuned in to News 4, both on air and online. Tomorrow, we're going to have a special live show on WIVB.com as soon as the polls close at 9 o'clock at night. We'll also have coverage on News 4 at 10 and 11 here on Channel 4.